Hi everyone, it's James here from the Studio Rats. Now I've had a rather lovely day today recording with this rather beautiful red plate overdrive classic guitar amp and an array of microphones. Now it's fair to say that most of the time, I'd probably say 90% of the time, when you hear a recorded guitar part, it's been done using this baby, a Shure SM57. However, these days we like to blend it up a little bit. And I've just received a new mic from Warm Audio. This is the WA-FT, or the Warm Audio Fen-Tone. It's a ribbon microphone based on a kind of 1950s classic vintage design. Now, one of the brilliant things that Warm Audio do is they take these vintage designs and this classic gear and they add a 21st century twist. And they've done exactly that with the WA-FT, the Fen-Tone, as I'm going to call it from now on. Back in the day, these mics would have been using old school Alnico magnets. Warm have given the Fen-Tone Neodymium magnets. They're much stronger, they react better with transient response, they're just better. Transformer-wise, as ever with Warm kit, this has got a CineMag USA transformer in it. They're second to none, they sound awesome. So what I want to do is take you through the track I've recorded and give you some idea of how this microphone sounds in real life. I've also used the Fen-Tone as my drum room mic. That sounds really, really cool. I've also used it on acoustic guitar. Now, generally, acoustic guitar can be quite challenging with ribbon mics because they like a nice high output. They like a nice high signal. Ribbons don't inherently give much output. So what the team at Warm Audio have done is effectively built a warm lifter, an inline amplifier, into the Fen-Tone, which is brilliant. So we have two modes. We have the passive mode, which does not require phantom power. And in actual fact, Warm say categorically do not have phantom power engaged when you're using vintage mode. However, when you use the active mode with the Warm lifter engaged, I don't quite know how they've managed to get something so big into something so small, but they have. They say you only use phantom power when you're using the active mode, which is fine because most consoles these days, or desks or interfaces, can easily switch phantom power on or off per channel. In this recording setup, I'm being quite careful about how I mount both my microphones. Certainly with regard to phase, it's really important that the signal from the cone gets to the mics at the same time, so we get a nice in-phase signal. You'll also notice that I'm leaning the Fen-Tone over slightly. Now that is to stop harsh, rapid amounts of air movement moving from the speaker and into the ribbon. Now, obviously, a ribbon microphone has in it a ribbon. This is a Japanese corrugated 90-something% aluminium ribbon. And they're very thin and can be a little fragile. So hence, only use phantom power when you're in active mode. Don't hot swap. Always turn phantom power off on your interface or your console before you plug and unplug your microphone. There is a certain amount of, kind of urban legend myth about this sort of thing, but hey, if it says it in the blurb, I'm going with it. Position-wise, I've gone for both mics on the same speaker, so I get the same tone from each, so it should be easier to blend the two. The Fen-Tone ribbon is again just pointing just inside the dust cap, just a little bit towards the center of the speaker. The 57, which I'm blending with it, is pointing at exactly the point where the dust cap meets the cone. That for me is the ideal sweet spot for both of these. You get the brightness from the dust cap tone, you also get then the darkness and the kind of combination from the point where the dust cap meets the cone. Too far into the cone, the sound for me gets too dark and too dull. Some would call it woolly. I would just say dull and not very appealing. Whereas now, being able to blend the brightness and the kind of in-your-faceness, if you like, of the dynamic mic 57 with the warmth and the body of the ribbon, just gives me a really nice guitar tone. Take a listen. For the acoustic guitar track, I've recorded with the Fen-Tone on its own between the 12th and 15th fret. Obviously, there's a little bit of movement as you're playing, but the guitar itself sounds really nice. It's a really good sounding guitar. Put a great mic on it. I'm going straight into the console, and this is how it sounds. So the Warm Audio Fen-Tone comes in its own rather lovely case. Let's open her up. With the pouch, the caution card, meaning really don't use phantom power in vintage mode, and a space to store everything. The only thing that I think is a little bit of a weak link in the package is the mic clip. It does a perfectly good job. It just doesn't quite have the same premium feel as the rest of the package. It does a perfectly good job. It's, you know, it's one of these kind of squeezy, clippy type things. It's fine. It's just not up to the same caliber as the rest of the package, in my opinion. Does it change the sound of the mic? No. Does it stop me using the mic in every way I'd like to? No, of course not. If that's my only gripe at a mic of this quality at that price point, and I'll leave the price down there, then really I shouldn't be grumbling too much. The addition of the Warm Audio Warm Lifter, the 26 dB preamp, if you like, inline preamp, is brilliant. It makes this thing usable when you're perhaps using gear that's not of a quality that you might like to. I mean, I'm very lucky that the console has preamps with plenty of gain. If you're using, you know, a lesser preamp or something more vintage, or, you know, an interface that doesn't have massive amounts of gain, that built-in warm lifter with the 26 dB boost is going to be really, really helpful. Does it change the circuit sound? No, I don't think so. Vintage, in this case, I don't think means vintage tone. It just means less gain. I've used the booster all the way through because, quite frankly, I keep forgetting to turn phantom power on and off, which is naughty of me. They do say that this could affect the life and the high frequency life of the ribbon. Hopefully not in the couple of times that I've forgotten. So don't do that. Always make sure phantom power is off before you plug and unplug your microphone. There, I said it. It's a brilliant thing. Yes, this is a sponsored video, so thanks to the team at Warm Audio for sending over the WA-FT, the Fen-Tone. Hopefully you've enjoyed the track I've put together using this mic and, you know, various other bits and pieces around the studio. It's worth noting the bass was recorded using a Warm Audio DI. Also, thanks to the team at Warm Audio for sending me some of their warm headphones. Really, really lovely and great isolating headphones. Close back, sound really nice. So there you go. That is the Warm Audio FT, the Fen-Tone ribbon microphone It's lovely. It will find its way into many a recording in this place. So yeah, check it out at the links below. Also, please do consider liking, subscribing, hitting that bell to be kept up to date with all things from the Studio Rats. But for now, my name's James Ivey from the Studio Rats, and I'll see you again very soon.